long ball. Stretch, stretch, stretch. You can put it on the board. Yes.
Welcome to the Sports Circus. I'm your Ringmaster Sal, live from the AMP TV mobile studios here in beautiful San Diego, here, Seaport Village in fantastic and beautiful San Diego, in the AMP TV mobile studios. That's AAMP.TV. Today's show is brought to you by Legal Shield, providing legal protection and peace of mind. Legal Shield can help with traffic tickets, texting and driving, DUIs, court appearances, estate planning, even contracts given to people they don't understand, plus a whole lot more. For more information, contact Legal Shield at 213-245-1305. That's 213-245-1305, or visit online for more information at nocourt.us. That's nocourt.us. And a big welcome into everybody listening in on our CBS, NBC, and Fox Sports affiliates from coast to coast. Everybody tuning in on hotel television in every metered market. I think there's over 220 markets across the country, and also on affiliates for Cox and Comcast and Spectrum Cable and Frontier Cable and WOW Cable. We're everywhere, folks. Also, everybody tuning in on Facebook, thanks for joining us, as well as the sportscircus.com. We are with a very, very special guest, and her name is Karen Lorre. And Karen Lorre is an actress, an author, a coach. Let's bring her on screen. A coach, a speaker, a model, a world traveler, and a beauty queen. All of those all together. and a beauty pageant winner. We were just talking about that. Karen, welcome into the show.
Thank you so much, Sal. I really appreciate you being, inviting me to be here. And thanks for your nice, description. I never actually won a beauty queen thing. It was much more informal. But anyway, thank you for thinking that of me. I really appreciate it.
All right. So, hey, Karen, as an author, I want to jump right into it. You have written a few books. And in fact, right from the top, I don't want to waste a bunch of time talking about things that maybe you don't want to. So let's get into chronicpleasurebook.com, and let's get into chronic pleasures in relationships. Inspire the best in men. Tell us about it.
Okay. So I wrote my first book was called Chronic Pleasure, and it helped people get rid of pain and fatigue. And that's also on chronicpleasurebook.com. And I'll give you that link at the end as well. And I think it's somewhere around here. Then I started coaching people, and I saw that the people that I coached, they lost all this pain in their body. But then they also got better relationships, and they also got, more money, and they also had more fun, and then got more time. And it was just amazing. So then I thought I should really write about chronic pleasure in relationships. And I wrote this book specifically for women, but it seems to be applying to everyone who's read it. I've had lots of men say, oh my God, this has changed my life, or this has made me a better dad for their daughters. And in the book, I basically have helped women to understand themselves, understand men, understand how to inspire men in the most authentic, loving, beautiful way, so that they can have relationships that feel really good. And so I wrote it because so many of my clients were just having amazing experiences in their relationships. I mean, clients, like one client, she had 3 kids. She was tired. She was working all the time with the kids, trying to keep them. They were all under like 7 years old. And her husband was working and he wasn't really home. So she was just doing all the stuff. He'd come home late and it'd be, it was tiring. And we started working together, and her husband, just with her shifting, her husband started to, hey, let me take care of the kids today, get her, other support like babysitters and stuff like that. He said, hey, let me take the kids to school. You don't have to sleep in. Then he started bringing her breakfast in bed. I mean, and, they started having better sex. And, it's just like, it goes on and on and on. And this is like just,
of course, there's an immediate applause whenever you say they started having better physical relationships, if you know what I mean. We can't forget that one. Please carry on.
Well, I mean, It's so interesting because when the women learn how to elicit that goodness from men, of course they're more attracted to the man because the man is doing more things that make them happier. And so sex just kind of naturally gets better. Although in the book, I do talk about how women can activate more aspects of their sexual organs so that they can be having better sex and experiencing much better pleasure and more fun and more connection. And here's why I say this, because, a lot of people, most people, especially men, have gotten, they learned about sex usually, when you're young, when there's a time pressure, mom's going to be home in a minute, somebody's going to open the bathroom door, whatever it is. And it's done in this rush way. And so I've recognized that a lot of times that's kind of the pattern that a lot of people have about sex. It has to be this rush thing. And what I've seen when people learn how to activate the parasympathetic, which is the part of their nervous system, which is the rest and renew. And they're breathing through the nose and breathing deeply while they're getting aroused at the same time. Sensation increases and it goes through the whole body more efficaciously. So I kind of teach, that's a whole kind of chapter or part of a chapter about that, because it's such a key. Most people, so many people in relationships stop having sex after a certain time. And that's one of the biggest problems that people can have. And so I just think it's really good to make sure that if you are going to have sex, that it feels really good. So I give tools or practices for women to do that can help them activate more of themselves so that they are more, so that every part of their sexual organs is as sensational as every other part, so that it's just like alive and activated and juicy and fun.
Karen, why would they stop? Why would they just stop? Is it that they feel unattractive? I'll tell you why we're talking about this, folks, because listen, from an athletic standpoint, yes, we know sometimes there are acrobatics and gymnastics involved in the whole physical part, right? So sometimes there's a little bit of that. But also, I think from a continuity in a house, and I speak from a former athlete's position, I think of all my fellow athletes that are sitting out there, and they're listening and saying, you know what? Nobody ever talks about this on a sports show. And why are they talking about it? Well, because your mental psyche has a real big part of your performance on and off the field, the court, the ice, et cetera, et cetera. It's a big deal. But Karen, why did they just suddenly stop having sex?
Gosh, there can be so many reasons. And part of it is because a lot of women don't know. Let me put it this way. A lot of women don't even know when they're actually ready to be entered. They might think they're ready to be entered probably 20, 30, 40 an hour, 40 minutes an hour longer than they actually are when they're actually ready. And so then they'll get this kind of I can't be, nothing feels good, because they can get shut down emotionally just in that area of sex. So it doesn't feel good. So then when the man is trying to do something sexual, it's like this tension that happens. And that's part of why I teach in that one chapter about really learning how to relax and how a woman can learn to open it up for herself first, or a man can do it with her, which would be just so beautiful if a man wanted to do that. And then she'll be more responsive and more open. But you're totally right, because sexual energy is such a huge part of feeling good mentally. It's key, actually, to good mental health is to have sex and to have orgasms and to have pleasure and to have all of that stuff. It's so key. But so is harmony in relationships. And, if you have stress in a relationship, in whatever way, it's going to affect the sexuality, and it's going to affect the mind of the players or the mind of both partners, because stress. And it also affects the physiology, stress shuts down the immune system.
Right. And there's a lot of people that I know from my former time on a baseball field, and I can tell you from other friends that are pick your favorite sport, the stress is so high that at some point you need some kind of release. So tell you what, Karen, in 30 seconds, give a preview of where we could go from here in the next segment.
Well, if we're going to talk about stress, I can give a couple really simple ways that you can start to mitigate the stress and bring your physiology down. You can actually shift your physiological set point so it becomes more relaxed in a consistent way. And when you're relaxed, you play better, you think better.
You play better and think better. All right. Nice round of applause for that. Folks, we're going to be back here with actress, author, coach, speaker, model, world traveler, and beauty pageant winner. And that'd be Karen Lorre. Folks, don't go anywhere. Lots more to come here on the circus. And we're going to have some very interesting dialogue about things that you typically don't hear on a sports show right here from beautiful Seaport Village in San Diego. So, folks, don't go anywhere. Back in just a few moments with Karen Lorre.
That's the sound of sizzling, dry-aged USDA Prime Wagyu and Angus steaks from UpperCutChops.com. Their best-in-class filet mignons, New York steaks, and the king of all steaks, the tomahawk and cowboy cut ribeyes are the best in the business. Even their Prime Wagyu burgers will likely be the best you've ever had. Browse the full selection of steaks and chops at UpperCutChops.com from the comfort of your home or on your mobile device. UpperCutChops.com delivers all-natural, dry-aged USDA Prime Wagyu and Angus steaks and chops directly to your door, without the hassle of going to the grocery store and fight crowds to pick from a small selection of average and best meats with injected steroids, fillers, and coloring added to look good. Find out what's for dinner at UpperCutChops.com or call 702-799-9935. That's 702-799-9935. 702-799-9935. Or make your selection directly at UpperCutChops.com.
AMP, the multi-format network, is here to help create, produce, distribute, and sell your content. For more information, send a message to info@aamp.tv. That's info@aamp.tv.
Are you a small business owner or pursuing the dream of starting your own company? Do you know where to start or how to grow that existing business? The American Business Trust Company has the answers you need. The American Business Trust Company can help you with startup capital, business strategy, sales and marketing, and establishing your company with a physical location or on the internet. You decide. You bring the idea, the American Business Trust Company can help with the rest. For a free evaluation, you may visit them online at abtrustco.com. That's abtrustco.com, or call them at 657-600-1876. That's the American Business Trust Company, 657-600-1876. Call them today. They can help your business right away.
Attention business owners, you and your customers are listening to this commercial right now. Face it, every business needs customers, even yours. The Sports Circus is a primetime nationally syndicated program that's carried on ABC, NBC, CNBC, and Westwood One News affiliates, plus CBS, Fox, and NBC sports affiliates across North America, with coverage from Hawaii to New York. Also, the Sports Circus is available to the 180 million subscribers on iHeartRadio, and the Sports Circus gets about 4 million website visitors per month, which could click through your website and bring sales. The Sports Circus provides great content featuring celebrity guests from sports and entertainment to our audience every weekday, which your company could greatly benefit from by increasing your visibility, foot traffic, eyeballs to your website, and calls from potential customers. Call us right now at 702-799-9935. Again, 702-799-9935. Or email us at info@thesportscircus.com. That's info@thesportscircus.com. Drive your sales today by advertising with the Sports Circus.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your Ringmaster Sal, live from the AMP TV mobile studios down at Seaport Village in San Diego. That's AAMP TV. Check us out at amp.tv, AAMP.tv as well. This segment brought to you in part by Cali Vegas, helping people create and host their very own radio, TV, or multimedia talk shows. Cali Vegas can help people with everything they need to get out of sitting in hours of traffic, commuting back and forth to the same old boring job, and host their very own talk show in their very own home studio. For more information, contact Cali Vegas at 949-445-1119. That's 949-445-1119. Again, 949-445-1119, or visit online at www.calivegas.com. That's CALI Vegas.com. And a big welcome into everybody listening in over in Las Vegas on Magic 97.9 FM. And hello to our friends over in Honolulu on CBS Sports 1500 KHKA in sunny Southern California, KCAA, our NBC News and CNBC financial affiliate, down in South Texas on the home of the Houston Astros, the Houston Rockets, and the Houston Texans. That'd be CBS Sports KSIX. Thanks for joining us over in Faraday, Louisiana, Natchez, Mississippi, 107.1 The River, as well as Auburn, Alabama, home of the Atlanta Braves, and WDJY in Atlanta and everywhere else, streaming on Spectrum Cable, on Comcast, on Cox Cable, on, where else are we? We're on Frontier Cable. Folks, we're everywhere. Wow Cable. We're in hotels as well, in 650,000 rooms from coast to coast. And we are here back with Karen Lorre, actress, author, coach, speaker, model, and, of course, world traveler and beauty pageant winner as well. We were talking a little bit in the last segment of what's coming up, and I want you to take a dive into that, Karen. Where are we at?
We were talking about how there's so much stress, both with like when people are playing professional sports, but also just like right now in the world, there's so much stress in the world. So there's a couple things you can do that can mitigate the stress. And one is meditation. And I know people are driving, so I'm not going to take you through meditation right now, but meditation can really help. And I know a lot of athletes do meditate because it is so helpful and it opens up your peripheral. If you happen to be watching a television, speaking of peripheral, or on your computer or on your phone, one of the things that happens when you are relaxed is you see the periphery. If you're stressed, you'll see, just focus straight ahead. So the more that you can just actively intend to see the periphery, as opposed to focusing hard on something. This is also good if somebody's doing something small like sewing, or whatever, drilling something. You want to see the periphery, and that keeps your eyes relaxed, which tells your body that you're safe. Also, breathing through the nose and causing, at least this is something that I've noticed with myself and my clients, if you breathe through the nose, let's say for a count of 5, and then you exhale for a count of 10, and you just keep doing that 5 and then 10. What you do, that longer, slower exhale all through the nose, is it tells your body that you're safe. And it quiets your mind, and it starts to activate the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the system of healing. It's the system of regeneration and rejuvenation. So the more that you just practice breathing slowly in and slowly out, and the breath is so great because when you, the breath is unconscious often, but it's also conscious. We have the capacity to have a volition and choice over how we breathe. So the more that you are conscious of your breathing, the more that you will activate this slowness and this parasympathetic in your system. And another thing you can do for stress is the heart has more nerves going from the heart to the brain than the brain to the heart. And I believe it's because the heart is meant to lead. And, you hear somebody say, oh, that guy's playing with his whole heart, or, he's all heart. And when somebody is actually like having an awareness of your heart, and you feel that sort of openness in your heart. Now that sounds kind of corny, and I'm a girl, but I apologize, but it works for men and women. But if you do feel this, if you practice opening your heart and feeling this openness, I use the practice, which is also in both my chronic pleasure books, called heartfulness. And again, I don't want to take you through it because people are driving and it just relaxes you too much. But the practice of keeping your heart open and full will naturally quiet your brain. And your brain, if you have a tension on your heart and you're feeling it full of kindness or love or gentleness or happiness, your brain will start to relax a little bit more as well, and it will receive that clarity from your heart.
Well, I can tell you this much from the sports angle. I 100% agree with what you're saying. Think about this. When there's a high pressure situation, and I'll take a past experience of mine. I'm standing on a pitcher's mound and things are getting very tense. Maybe there's a runner or two on base. It's a tight game. It's late in the game, something like that. And I'm thinking, okay, I just had maybe the catcher let a ball go by him. There was a passed ball by the catcher. And so that makes me a little bit anxious. And I'm thinking, okay, now I can't throw it in a very particular area because I just saw what happened with the catcher. Now the catcher is feeling the same pressure, but here I am. Now I'm starting to mouth breathe a little bit because now I'm a little bit anxious and I'm hyperventilating a little bit. But it's the old take the deep breath through your nose and gather yourself, because if you don't gather yourself, you've got a bigger problem, and that bigger problem awaits with what your next move on the field is going to be. And so as you were saying, calming yourself, and then we think of course, the nerves. And remember, of course, for all you that don't know, the stomach has, if I'm not mistaken, I heard this from Dr. Kristen Wellemeyer, I believe, now don't quote me on this, all right, but I believe that she had told me something to the effect that your stomach is your second brain, because I believe there are 60% of the neurons, the size of the amount of neurons in your stomach are to your brain. So that's kind of like your second brain. So that's why people feel the butterflies in the stomach and this kind of thing, and they get really nervous, and then it races your heart rate, then you start mouth breathing, and it's just a big chain event of reactions, is it not?
Absolutely. And that can be where things start to snowball in the way you don't want it to go. And one of the things that I practice is that I practiced when I wasn't, pitching on the mound, let's say, or doing something that could, acting. I practice going into that state where my physiology relaxes, where I'm breathing slowly when I'm not in the stressful situation, so that it's easier, just like it's easier if if you're learning to play guitar, if you've practiced the scales and you've played the guitar for a long time, then it's kind of easy. You just pick it up and you know what to do. And the same thing happens in our brains. We actually learn how to activate a different part of the brain, which is not the stress part. It's the more, more autonomic and more relaxed part of the brain. And you will activate that through practicing this prophylactically, if you will, before you get into the game, before you even, like as you're going to bed at night, before you get up in the morning, you practice resetting your physiology. And we have this thing called the physiological set point, which is kind of like, this is your habit of stress. And what's happened for me is that I've been able to shift that. And this is something that I do with my clients, because you can have dominion over your physiology once you know how to do it. And this is so key for athletes and for anybody really, is to have dominion over your body. And that's one of the things I teach my clients. It's also in the third book, Chronic Pleasure in Relationships, Inspire the Best in Men. And that recognizing this is just part of what I teach to have the dominion. It's a big package. But when you start to practice this on a consistent basis, when you're not in that high pressured situation, when you're not on the mound, when you're not on the court, when you're not on the snow, whatever you're doing, and you're practicing it, in bed when you're at home, or you're practicing it if you're watching TV, or you're practicing it if you're driving, you will start to create a new foray into your physiology that will be easier to access when you are stressed. So in this stressful time, it's really hard to back that up because you've got all this stressful momentum. But if you practice activating that relaxation on a consistent basis, you can literally shift your physiological set point to more and more relaxation. In my own experience, I've shifted it so much that I no longer get stressed. I have no stress. Nothing stresses me.
So Karen, let me ask you this now in our last 30 seconds or so in this segment. What message do you have for all of those people that are stressing, sitting in traffic right now, that are listening to this in their car while they're driving back and forth, whether it's to or from work? Give them a little tip.
Great. So if you can just bring your attention to your heart and just feel how your heart is beating, and recognize that your heart is beating for you all the time. It's working for you. It's there supporting you. And recognize how all the other people that are around you are your tribe. They're your people. And there's no competition in the car. These are your people. This is your tribe. And you can feel how you guys move in harmony with each other. And if you can feel, if you've got your hands on the steering wheel, let your fingers, don't get your hands off the steering wheel, but just relax your hands. Relax the grip so you're not gripping it, so you're relaxed.
I have to tell you, I've never looked at driving that way in traffic. Now I have a whole new outlook on how I'm going to look at driving in traffic. Tell you what, folks, we're going to drive into a quick commercial break. Back here with actress, author, coach, speaker, model, world traveler, and beauty queen. That would be Karen Lorre. And check out on break, chronicpleasurebook.com. Back here in just a moment. Don't go anywhere.
Attention business owners, you and your customers are listening to this commercial right now. Face it, every business needs customers, even yours. The Sports Circus is a primetime nationally syndicated program that's carried on ABC, NBC, CNBC, and Westwood One News affiliates, plus CBS, Fox, and NBC sports affiliates across North America, with coverage from Hawaii to New York. Also, the Sports Circus is available to the 180 million subscribers on iHeartRadio, and the Sports Circus gets about 4 million website visitors per month, which could click through your website and bring sales. The Sports Circus provides great content featuring celebrity guests from sports and entertainment to our audience every weekday, which your company could greatly benefit from by increasing your visibility, foot traffic, eyeballs to your website, and calls from potential customers. Call us right now at 702-799-9935. Again, 702-799-9935, or email us at info@thesportscircus.com. That's info@thesportscircus.com. Drive your sales today by advertising with the Sports Circus.
If you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of pricking your fingers over and over again. Ouch! Well, by wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce the pain of pricking your fingers. If you administer insulin 3 or more times per day or use an insulin pump, call now and learn how a CGM can help you.
Painless. No more pricking my finger.
No finger pricks.
Convenience. They delivered it free and they took care of all the paperwork.
You can reduce pain right away. Plus, it's accurate, easy to use, and helps you spend more time in range. And if you have insurance, you can get a new CGM at little or no out-of-pocket cost. Call now and get free shipping of your new CGM. Plus, we'll bill your insurance for you. 800-659-7805. 800-659-7805. 800-659-7805. That's 800-659-7805. Can your IRA stand up to the next financial crisis that our top economists are saying is at our doorsteps? By allocating a percentage of your IRA into physical gold and silver with a tax-free rollover, you can diversify and safeguard your holdings from turbulent markets and economic downturns by putting your IRA back on the gold standard. Find out how to safeguard your assets with a tax-free rollover with a Genesis Gold IRA, the only IRA that can hold physical precious metals. Call now for your free gold and silver report. Protect your IRA today with one simple phone call and learn how to qualify for up to $10,000 in free silver. Call Genesis Gold Group, empowering faith-driven stewardship. 800-932-5517. 800-932-5517. 800-932-5517. That's 800-932-5517.
Hey everybody, this is Barry Katz from the Industry Standard Podcast.
and you're listening to the Sports Circus with Sal Tuzzolino.
I'm Karen Lorre. Welcome back to the Sports Circus with the amazing Sal Tuzzolino. And I'm here. I am an author, an actress, a speaker, and a coach. And my book that we're talking about today is called Chronic Pleasure in Relationships, Inspire the Best in Men. And you can get all three of my books at chronicpleasurebooks.com. And they're all free downloads. I'd be happy to send them to you. And thank you, Sal, for this. I really appreciate it. Turning it back to you.
All right. Yes, and she forgot to say actress, author, coach, speaker, model, world traveler, beauty queen, trapeze artist. What else have you? Scuba. You're a scuba.
Acrobat. Scuba diver.
Acrobat, right. Right.
Scuba diver, salsa dancer, tango dancer.
She's basically done it all. And Karen is a returning guest for the Sports Circus. People have really asked since last time you've been on. They said, well, when are you going to bring Karen back? Well, guess what? Here she is. And I am back here in beautiful San Diego in Seaport Village in the AMP TV mobile studios. That's AAMP.TV. So this segment was brought to you by Karen Lorre and Chronic Pleasure in Relationships, Inspire the Best in Men. All right, and welcome back to everybody listening in on our CBS, NBC, and Fox Sports affiliates from coast to coast. And of course, big hello to our friends over in Las Vegas on Magic 97.9 FM, as well as everybody streaming us on Facebook and social media around the world, as well as thesportscircus.com. All right, so back here with Karen. And Karen, we talked a little bit about the breathing side of it and the sports side of it. And look, and even on the outro, it was let's look at traffic in a very different way. Look, folks, driving home is not a sport, in case you're wondering. If driving to work is not a sport, unless I don't care if you're driving a Ferrari or a Lambo or whatever, or a Porsche. Well, guess what? At the end of the day, it's still not a sport because not everybody's driving the same car and there's nobody waving a checkered flag on either end of it. No, you just get there, and whether you punch a clock or you look at the clock, say, I'm here on time, that's all that matters, but you got there safely. And so how this relates to sports from the breathing side, from the mental side of it, this is a really big deal, folks. And when you think of the stress, whether it's in, pick your favorite sport, I don't care whether it's ping pong to baseball, football, basketball, hockey, bowling, golf even. Now I would argue golf is not a sport. It's more of a pastime, because if you could drink a beer and do it, to me, it's not a sport. I don't know. That's just how I feel about it. But nonetheless, it is a skill game. So out of the different things, now, look, you can't fly on a trapeze and have a beer. So I guess that is a sport, is it not?
Oh, for sure. It's a sport. It's a full body, crazy good sport. So what you were just saying about how, when you have a sport you're doing, let's say it's basketball, because I really like watching basketball. I like watching all sports, but the basketball, you watch these guys and they have this awareness of their teammates, and they're passing balls without even seeing what the people are doing. They're just like, boom, passing the ball behind them, passing the ball to the side, and they're doing it with such peripheral vision. And this goes back to what I was talking about on the last segment about how if you practice having your peripheral vision open as much as you can. And I do things, this is so great for any kind of sports thing, and it's just great in general, but I do things where I adjust my perspective. So like if I'm playing ping pong, let's say, I have a little mini ping pong table. If I'm playing ping pong, I don't always look at the ball. I'm trying to keep my focus, let's say, on the person's, maybe their heart or their belly button or something. So a little higher, usually probably like their chest. And I'm trying to stay that so that my peripheral vision is getting activated. And I play with both hands. And the reason I'm doing this is because there's, every time you're using a different part of your body, you're activating different parts of your brain. And so the more you activate that peripheral vision, the more you activate non-dominant hands. I often will write in my non-dominant hand because it again activates the brain. And so you can find when you do that and you open up your peripheral vision, whether it's about driving or whether it's about playing a sport or whether it's about catching something that falls out of the cupboard, right away without looking, that peripheral vision starts to get activated and you end up having so much more awareness. You become a better driver. You become a better mom, dad, ball player, anything, because you're so much, you can open up and the peripheral vision goes up and down. So the more that you're aware of your peripheral vision, whether it's the top of the car or the top of the roof or the top or the sky, the sides, the bottom, the floor, like seeing as much as you can while you're watching this or while I'm doing this, I have my peripheral vision. I can see all the way back kind of to not totally behind me, but, pretty far. And so that practice teaches your body that you're safe. And the more you do it, you'll have better awareness when you're doing whatever sports you're playing or driving or anything that has your eyes involved.
Right. Well, look at it this way, Karen, a lot of that has to do with finding your center and pick your favorite sport, because if you're focused, and let's just take the analogy like you were talking about in basketball, I'm not a very good basketball player, but I'm a good defender because I keep the middle of that body right in front of me. I don't watch the ball. I never did watch the ball. I was always told, don't watch the ball. Okay, well, I'm not going to anyway. I'm going to watch where that body moves, because where the body moves, that's where the ball's going to go, period. And so a lot of good defenders from the basketball world will tell you the very same thing. I mean, look, they're going to have to get by you at some point. And the only way they're going to get by you is if you get off balance and off centered. And so if you're focusing on the middle of the body, well, guess what? They're not going to be able to get by you unless they just happen to blink their eye or they get around fast, or you make a mechanical error so you cross your feet over the wrong direction. But generally speaking, keeping your feet shoulder width and shuffling back and forth instead of crossing your feet over. Once you cross your feet over, then if you cross your left foot over your right, then the person with the ball, for example, will go that way off to your left because you already crossed over and committed to going right. So at the end of the day, again, balance, 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 and keeping your center exactly where you're supposed to be in front of the person that is in front of you. Then you could defend properly, but it's much the same thing from being able to see the entire field or see the entire ice. Imagine your analogy in basketball. Well, now take hockey, which is, 5 times as fast, which is crazy. I mean, these guys are going at a really high rate of speed, passing the puck through their legs, sometimes lifting it up onto the stick and throwing it behind them. All kind of crazy things they could do with a hockey puck. But still, folks, center, center, center. And I think that's the message that we're talking about, isn't it, Karen?
Yeah. And, part of the thing that's so interesting is what's in the center, that second brain you were talking about. And when you're relaxed, the more you can be relaxed while you are doing anything that activates your center, whether it's, just regular exercise or, going on a walk and keeping awareness of your center. If you're relaxed while you're doing it, those neurons are going to start sending serotonin, which is a happy chemical, up into your brain. And so you start to elicit more of that happiness. And one of the things that I've noticed in my life is that the more that you're relaxed and the more that you're happy, your intuition opens up. And this is so key for sports, and it's key for everything. Driving, it's key for everything. And in fact, they show that most of the most successful people in the world have high intuition. Part of the intuition that gets activated is by being relaxed, keeping your awareness on your periphery, breathing through your nose, one of the signs that you're getting relaxed is if you have a lot of saliva. That's a sign that your body is activating that relaxation. Or if you hear digestion in your body, that's a sign of relaxation. So the more you activate that, the more you're going to be intuitive. So even if you're centered and you're doing that defending that you're talking about, you're going to also have awarenesses or be sort of inspired in different directions so that you'll be able to play more intuitively, which is what you see in all the best athletes. Everybody who's an amazing athlete is ridiculously intuitive.
They're intuitive, but again, they have the ability to overcome their stress by staying focused, but they breathe. And you'll notice a lot of those players, I don't care what sport it is, even if they're playing football, let's say they're just a gigantic mountain of a man lineman, a big offensive tackle or something, maybe 6'5", 350 or something like that. If they're not mouth breathing, number one, we know that they're not really sucking wind, but we also know that they have the ability to do what? Either perform their job well without exerting themselves, or you could say, well, maybe they're not working very hard at all. I don't know, but that's not really the case. But ultimately, it's all a matter of your composure and posture. If you're projecting to the other side of the line, those big defensive linemen that are trying to get after your quarterback or your running back or whatever, if you're saying, you know what, I'm not exerting myself, you're about as worrisome as a cloudy day. And so I'm not worried about blocking you. I'm not worried about you trying to run around me. None of that matters, because what matters is I'm relaxed. I'm not breathing with my mouth open, showing that I'm tired, showing that I'm fatigued. No, what I'm doing is I'm relaxing. I think a lot of athletes see that in their counterparts, and that makes them panic. What do you think?
Absolutely. I mean, if you, even as an actor, one of the best ways to play the most, powerful people is to be super relaxed. The powerful people who are the most powerful, they're usually very, very relaxed. And maybe they have moments where they're not, but there's often a way that they have to control their physiology. And, one of the things I also talk about in the third book is how so many of us grow up with unconscious sort of triggers, or we have PTSD, trauma, or something like that. And this can get in the way of people. Should I stop?
Hold that thought. Back in a moment with Karen Lorre. Don't go anywhere, folks.
AMP, the multi-format network, is here to help create, produce, distribute, and sell your content. For more information, send a message to info@aamp.tv. That's info@aamp.tv.
Are you a small business owner or pursuing the dream of starting your own company? Do you know where to start or how to grow that existing business? The American Business Trust Company has the answers you need. The American Business Trust Company can help you with startup capital, business strategy, sales and marketing, and establishing your company with a physical location or on the internet. You decide. You bring the idea, the American Business Trust Company can help with the rest. For a free evaluation, you may visit them online at abtrustco.com. That's ABTRUSTCO.com, or call them at 657-600-1876. That's the American Business Trust Company, 657-600-1876. Call them today. They can help your business right away.
That's the sound of sizzling, dry-aged USDA Prime Wagyu and Angus steaks from UpperCutChops.com. Their best-in-class filet mignons, New York steaks, and the king of all steaks, the tomahawk and cowboy cut ribeyes, are the best in the business. Even their Prime Wagyu burgers will likely be the best you've ever had. Browse the full selection of steaks and chops at UpperCutChops.com from the comfort of your home or on your mobile device. UpperCutChops.com delivers all-natural, dry-aged USDA Prime Wagyu and Angus steaks and chops directly to your door, without the hassle of going to the grocery store and fight crowds to pick from a small selection of average at best meats with injected steroids, fillers, and coloring added to look good. Find out what's for dinner at UpperCutChops.com or call 702-799-9935. That's 702-799-9935. 702-799-9935. Or make your selection directly at UpperCutChops.com.
Well, what the hell is supposed to do, you moron?
Quiet, numbskulls. I'm broadcasting.
back to the Sports Circus. I'm your Ringmaster Sal, live from Seaport Village in beautiful San Diego, right on the waterfront in San Diego, in the AMP TV mobile studios. That's AAMP.TV. Make sure you Google AMP TV and find out everything you can about AMP TV. This segment brought to you in part by one of our sponsors, and that is the College of Southern Nevada Athletics, CSNCoyotes.com, for upcoming events and games for the College of Southern Nevada Athletics, CSNCoyotes.com. Check them out, folks. And welcome back to everybody listening in on our CBS, NBC, and Fox Sports affiliates from coast to coast, as well as our friends over in beautiful and fabulous Las Vegas Magic 97.9 FM and hotels from coast to coast, as well as everybody following on all social media mediums and the sportscircus.com. Back here with Karen Lorre, actress, author, coach, speaker, model, world traveler, beauty queen, trapeze artist, tightrope, gymnast, salsa dancer. She's done it all. Also author of Chronic Pleasure in Relationships, Inspire the Best in Men. That is her third book. And check it out, folks. chronicpleasurebook.com. chronicpleasurebook.com. You can probably pick yourself up a copy there, and I think a nice digital copy would work out very well. Maybe we'll be able to hear that on audio at some point pretty soon. What do you think about that?
Thank you, Sal. Yeah, I'm going to do audio for both my second book and third book. I've already done it for the first book. I cannot give the audio away because Audible has a very strict rule about that, but you can get it on audible.com. The first book is called Chronic Pleasure. But yeah, what we were talking about right before the break was about how so many people have, traumas from their childhood or PTSD. And a lot of times that's why people go into sports, because a lot of times people, sports can provide that escape, if you will. It can also make you strong, so you have more capacity to, to ward off things that were maybe traumatic. But a lot of times they can be in the sports and still have these triggers. So they go home and they have an experience with their spouse. They don't even know that they're being triggered. And they're doing something, not even aware maybe that they've raised their voice and they're yelling, not even aware that they've done something, or not aware that they've eaten this food that they didn't want to eat. Whatever it is, we all have these, well, I don't have many more actually, but most people are brought up with subconscious blocks that, or belief systems or things that we're doing on automatic that are the opposite of being in peak performance. They're the opposite of playing, fully in a most effective and powerful way. And so that's another thing I talk about. This book has so many crazy things. In my third book, The Chronic Pleasure in Relationships, Inspire the Best in Men. And like I said, you can get a free digital copy of all my books there at chronicpleasurebook.com. But there's a doctor named Dr. Bruce Lipton, and he's a good friend of mine. And we had this whole conversation about these subconscious blocks. And it's really key to be able to unlock them and to release them so that all of you is going in the same direction of what you want. So that if you're a ball player, or if you're a hockey player or golfer or driving, that all of you, your conscious mind, your unconscious mind, your subconscious mind is moving in the direction you want. That's the kind of players that, win the gold cups and win all the awards, because they're more fully aligned. They might have areas where they're not, but in general, the more that you have opened up your subconscious so that you're not getting triggered away from what you want into what you don't want, and the more that you're open to allow that subconscious stuff to be subconsciously supporting your desires, then you have like this incredible power and this incredible freedom where you are able to be more powerful, more relaxed, more effective as you play, as you drive, as you be a parent, as you do whatever you do.
Right. So it's sort of like getting out of the stigma of being mentally on autopilot, but striving for greatness and being allowed to strive for greatness.
Absolutely. And part of what autopilot is it's a subconscious running your life. But if you start to activate, or you find someone, like I can help people unlock the traumas in the past, and that's part of why my coaching is so powerful. But if you can find someone that can help you release those subconscious programmings, then you stay more present. And then if you do go into automatic and your subconscious is supporting you, now you're automatically eating the food that nourishes your body. You're automatically being kind. You're automatically being relaxed. You're automatically being triggered into more love. This is what I've achieved in my own system after having, I used to have PTSD, anxiety attacks, so much stuff that I had, all sorts of traumas. They're all gone. And now, if anything happens to me, I get triggered into greater love, greater relaxation, greater happiness. And that's kind of what I teach my clients, how to do that. And the way it relates, yeah, thank you. But the way it really relates to what we're talking about with sports is, when somebody makes you angry, when somebody hurts your feelings, when somebody does something that you don't like, if you get triggered, you lose that focus, just like you can't find your keys when you're stressed. Same thing happens. You can't see as clearly. Your focus changes. That's why it's so good to practice seeing from the periphery. And so the more that you open up and undo those subconscious blocks or those old past triggers and really heal them deeply, that's one of the things I've had to learn how to do, because I needed it for myself. I'd gone to therapist for like 30 years and nothing, I didn't heal. And then I had to figure out for myself how to do it. And so I have my own way of healing it, and it has been incredibly effective, but it enables you to not get triggered out of your awareness, so that you're really present. You're really able to be present and be in your most peak performance, peak person, in your best state of being more effortlessly. And I find that, that's, to me, that's the way to go. I want things to be unconsciously competent, that there's no effort to it.
100%. All right. So we have a question from Sonar, our engineer. I know he wanted to pop in there real quick.
Well, thank you very much for being on with us. Firstly, it's been eye-opening, and also just you've given out so many tips about mindfulness, which I think is what we're essentially achieving here towards the end. Do you have any tips for people that are just starting out with meditation and being more mindful? Because for a lot of people, it's really scary that first time they sit down and actively meditate. They say, I'm going to meditate right now, and make that conscious decision to actually meditate. Do you have any advice about what it's like being the first time to just essentially dive into the abyss of your own mind?
The first thing I would do is, if you're going to meditate, scan your body and look for any tension. This is something that they teach in what's called Vipassana, which is a type of meditation. And you scan your body, and if you feel any tension, relax it. Then put your attention. I don't do mindfulness. I do heartfulness, like my heart is full of love. But if you put your attention, let's say, on your heart and just practice relaxing it, I actually do take you through a meditation in my first book called Chronic Pleasure, which is on Audible. So if you have your attention on your heart and you just maybe put your attention, let's say, on the beat, the pulse of your heart. You can feel the pulse maybe in your fingers, or maybe you can feel it in your feet. And what you're doing is you're getting yourself away from thinking into being. The practice of being, where you're just aware of the sensations, relaxing any tension, perceiving the rhythmic beat of your heart. That is, it's everywhere in your body. There might be places that you are able to perceive it. And then doing that same breathing with the inhale shorter and then the exhale longer as you practice it. And then make no attachment to the outcome of the meditation. Make no effort in meditating. Meditating is the opposite of effort. Meditating is the practice of receiving. It's the practice of allowing. So you can kind of have that, You know, when little kids are drawing and they got, their tongue is sticking out of their mouth and they're just focusing, they're not listening to you and they're just like doing that thing. That's the kind of feeling that meditation is like. It's innocent. It's no effort. It's just doing something that's natural. That's meant to help. Yeah.
That's good stuff. Hey, Karen, listen. Folks, we're here with Karen Lorre. In case you joining us late, you can always go to thesportscircus.com and listen to the full recorded show on Apple Podcasts, on iHeartRadio, on Spotify, or on our recorded show pages for CBS or NBC. Karen, take a couple of minutes real quick and tell everybody a recap of chronic pleasures in relationships inspire the best in men, as well as how to follow you and your other books as well.
Awesome. Well, this Chronic Pleasure in Relationships, Inspire the Best in Men is my third book. You can get all three of my books for free at chronicpleasurebook.com. You can follow me on Karen Lorre on Facebook. I am getting about 500 or 600 friend requests a day, so I might not be able to be friends, but or see a friend request, but you can send me a message and I should probably be able to see that if you want to do that. And I just really appreciate being here. I thank you so much, Sal. This was super fun. And thank you, Sonar. This was just great. Thank you.
Always good stuff. And, Karen, you can come back whenever you want to. And needless to say, we have so much more to talk about, maybe extra knees, extra elbows. And we started talking about that earlier in the show, actually off camera, but that's a whole nother discussion for a whole nother time. But I have to tell you, the dialogue is always interesting because you enlighten people in so many different ways and you get them to think about things that they're stressing about every day, but in a very convenient way that's not intrusive to them. It's something they can relate with.
Aw, thank you, Sal. That feels so good. Thank you. I hope it can be a benefit to people. That's what I want.
I'm sure it will be. And Dennis, I'm sure that Dennis is Sonar, and Sonar is Dennis, folks, in case you're wondering. So, Dennis, you had a little bit of insight to a question that you had, and who knows, maybe it'll even help yourself out.
Absolutely. I also enjoy meditation. I like to recenter my body as well. When I first started, the way I put it was I was looking at a big ball of yarn that was all twisted up, and meditation helped me pull out each and every one of those strings and lay them in a nice, neat order. I'm a INTJ personality, so I like it nice and neat.
All right.
Love it.
All right, Karen, appreciate you coming on again. Again, Karen Lorre, actress, author, coach, speaker, model, world traveler, beauty queen. Chronic Pleasure in Relationships, Inspire the Best in Men. Check it out at chronicpleasurebook.com. Get your copy there. And I'll tell you what, we're out of time. So a big thanks for Karen joining us. And, of course, for Sonar and all your input. I'm your Ringmaster Sal, and we'll see you next time on your favorite station. Until then, so long, everyone.
So, you want to be in show business. Do people tell you that you're really funny, you have a great personality, and you should have your own talk show? Many of us have been told that, but we don't know how to get started. It's easier than you think. Let the pros at Cali Vegas give you a free talent evaluation. Call 949-445-1119 and learn how quickly you can create, produce, and host your very own talk show. Imagine not having to sit in traffic every day, commuting back and forth to the same old boring job. Get started in television or radio today with your free talent evaluation from Cali Vegas. Call 949-445-1119 or visit them online at calivegas.com. Make your dream come true today and create your new career and learn how to become a television or radio star with the help of Cali Vegas. 949-445-1119. Call now.